welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Ray, and joined by my illustrious co-hosts, it's going to be Josh and Mike. Hello, gentlemen.
What up?
Good evening,
Hey, hi, hello, how are you?
gentlemen.
What's good?
It's that time of the year again. We're
What time
Josh
is it,
is
Ray?
finally back.
I'm back.
We
Cool.
rescued him from he got folded up into those beds that go up into the wall.
Yes,
He was stuck there for 3 months.
I was stuck
We
in a
finally
bed
got
for
him.
3 months.
We found him, boys.
We did it. Yeah.
wow. We're the last generation of people that'll understand that joke. Our kids won't get that.
That's
'Cause
probably
no
a good
one has
thing.
those anymore.
I had
Yeah,
a
that's better.
I had a conversation with somebody just yesterday about her and her waterbed that she used to have, and my parents had a waterbed when I was growing up. I'm like, my kids will never understand the amazing horrors of a waterbed.
Back in the 80s where people just make coked out ideas, and one of them was like,
Wow.
what if a bed but full of water?
Now the only ideas we have today are, what if Ugly Monkey, and what if Lazy Susan was problematic?
I don't know who Lazy Susan is.
That's the name of the thing in your kitchen that spins around, where you put all the pots and pans on. That's what it's called. Called Lazy Susan.
Why would it be problematic? Oh my gosh, there's a story
That's
here.
the joke.
Okay, okay.
So never mind. Go on.
Oh.
Lazy Susans are canceled.
Okay, we're canceling Lazy Susan.
You heard it here, people. It is that time of year. 2021 has passed, and we got all the major holidays out of the way, up to and including MLK Day. And we are going to talk about, Josh and Mike are going to talk about their 5 favorite games, and I'll just mention at the end what my top 5 favorite games are, but in no particular order. Josh and Mike, though, are going in order of what their top 5, starting with number 5 and going up to their number 1, what they think was the game of 2021. So, we're going to start this off since he's been gone for a while. Josh, what's your number 5?
All right. So my number 5 was a bit of a race to the bottom this year.
The disrespect of the people that worked on this.
Yeah, what was the least suck ass game we had?
I mean,
this year?
I'm not gonna lie. I played maybe about 9 or 10 2021 releases in this calendar year, and 1 through 4 fell into place pretty well. And then I literally have been thinking all day what number 5 is gonna be, and I'm gonna make a game time decision.
Right.
My number 5 game of the year is Paw Patrol Adventure City Calls, the movie, the game.
Okay.
It's not actually, but
Okay. All right.
So now you're lying.
I do have problems with that game, though. It's good and bad at the same time, and our kids deserve better. No, but for real, I think my game 5 of the year is 12 Minutes. That is that time loop game made by one person with Daisy Ridley, Willem Dafoe, and what's his nuts? Professor Xavier from the Young X-Men.
James McAvoy.
James McAvoy. And, I think I talked about this a little bit. Now, my wife has played most of the game, but I've helped her with some of the puzzles and seen some, content about some of the late stage stuff. She hasn't quite finished it yet. But, it is a time loop game where you're playing as the James McAvoy character. You're the husband, and you are basically experiencing the same 12-minute segment over and over again and trying to figure out what's going on and solve some weird mystery that's happening. And this game has been in development for a very long time, and I want to say the first that I heard about it was like 2013, 2014, and it has gone through a lot of iterations, a lot of changes over the time. And I like the concept, and I like what they were doing, but boy, did he not execute on the time loop mechanics very well. It is a very, very exhausting and frustrating game in the way that it does not give you any ways to really skip through areas that you've done before. When you kind of get into that area of like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this because I need to find that new thing. you still have to go through every single sequence and segment again and again and again, and it gets exhausting. And from what I've seen, the plot twist at the end is also pretty. It's not great, but it was an okay game, and great cast, interesting story, but boy, is it's hard to say, hey, I want to hear more about this story when the game is just so damn frustrating to play.
Well, we're off to a very tepid start. Mike, you're number 5?
Yes, I can do that. I would just like to mention that this year's top 5 is sponsored by a game that is my actual game of the year, because it's the game that I played the most during the year. This is Mike's top 5, brought to you by Destiny 2. The Witch Queen coming out at the February 22nd, pre-order now.
I will do no such thing.
My number 5 game is the sensation that has been sweeping the nation, and has started discourse about your dumb tweets about the green squares and cubes. It's a game called Wordle, and it's a pretty fun little game. Me not good word game, but me like Wordle. Need 5 letters, make word. You get 6 guess. Try guess 5-letter word in 6 guess. When you try to input a guess, it will tell you if the letter is in the word, or if it's in the correct spot, or if it's in the correct spot. And it just changes every day. It's fun to see how everyone else does it, how everyone got to it, whether they got it or not, who's on a streak. If someone got it in 2 guesses or something really early, it's fun, and it's free, and the word changes every day, and yeah, that's Wordle. You've probably heard about it by now.
Can I change my game 5? That's a much.
Yes, you can.
No, I'm sorry. You chose a 5 out of 10 for your
as
game
the
of
other
year.
as the other person ranking a top 5 here. That is Ray has a non-binding vote here. I say you can do it, Josh.
We're gonna strike through 12 minutes, and we're gonna hand draw Wordle on that one.
I might actually do that if I have some time this weekend. Just Anyways, so we're starting off with a game that Josh is unsure if is actually good or not, and Mike naming what's clearly a word puzzle and not a game. So
It's
this
a
is
game!
the honest. This is the honest 2021 Game of the Year show.
It's a
in
game.
existence.
That's like saying tic-tac-toe is not a game. It's yes, it is. It's counter argument. Yes, it is.
Now I would call tic-tac-toe a game because you play it with people.
Yeah, it's not like I said the New York Times crossword was a.
You might as
was
well
my
have,
game.
actually.
Oh man,
Josh, you're number 4, please.
it's almost as if 2021 was a year impacted.
Yeah, my game of the year is the word search on the back of Highlights magazine. That's my game of the year.
My
the doctor's office.
My game of the year is Ball and Cup. Just that's all I've been doing.
I really thought it was going to be. I really thought it was going to be stick and hoop down Cobblestone Street, but no.
Josh, number 4, please.
My number 4 game that I haven't actually been able to talk about on the podcast at all, just be given my little leave of absence there, but it is the newest edition in the Dark Pictures anthology series. Their title, House of Ashes. I will say of the games from this studio, and especially in the Dark Pictures anthology that they've done, this is the best entry in that part of the franchise, and honestly is pretty up there with their first entry, and the name is escaping me right now.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn, yes. It's on that level of in terms of the intrigue and whatnot. Obviously, the game still is suck ass to play. The controls are terrible. It will always be that way. I hate the QuickTime events. I'm terrible at them. My wife hates how bad I am at them, and it has definitely gotten me killed on more than one occasion because my reaction times are very slow. But the story and the intrigue that is occurring, the characters that are in this game, I think are some of the strongest that they've had in a long time. And in terms of the payoff of the story, the last few have gone the route of there's this really cool paranormal thing that happens. Oh, it's actually all just in their fucking mind, which sucks, and I hated it. And it was
the
terrible.
worst. It's the lamest plot twist.
Yeah,
It's
the real
the
enemy
worst
was in
thing you could
here the whole time.
That's so dumb.
No,
Yes.
but this game, they actually pay off in a very strong way and be like, no, dude, fucking weird shit is happening, and that's it. So, you follow a group of American soldiers in Iraq during the end, right after Saddam had surrendered, who fall upon this ancient ruin and the ancient evil that was buried in there.
Ooh.
And it's really good. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, again, still a terrible game in terms of the controls and whatnot. It's not what they're known for, but the story, everything about it, very good. So that's game number 4.
Game number 4, a game that Josh physically hates playing. Excellent. Mike, you're number 4?
I'm here to start fights on the Game of the Year podcast, folks. My number 4 game is Metroid Dread.
That's really low. I don't know what to say. That's pretty low on that list. All right.
I played through it once. I liked some of the shooting.
Yep.
I think hunting for secrets and stuff like that is not super fun.
Ooh.
I thought the story was okay. And I think I played through it. I had a decent time with it. I don't think I'm going to play it again.
Okay, I respect that opinion. That's fine. Wait, is that all you got to say? On
That's right. Yes, that's all I have to say.
Well, shit. We off to number 3 then. Josh, you're number 3. Uh-oh.
Just need a minute to regain my composure.
He just slapped him with a wet fish, ladies and gentlemen. The Metroid Man 1352 needs 352 seconds.
Well, my God, I can't even. Game number 3 of the year for me, Inscription.
Okay, all right.
It's a card game. It's cool. I have more to say about this game, but I'm angry at Mike, so I want to be mean to
him.
You're angry because Josh was live streaming his playthrough the other day, and he might have, as the kids call it, fucked up.
Yep.
And a good laugh was had by all.
Yes. So, Inscription, very good game, very fun. I mean, I've only been playing it for a week or so, and I've already gone through several runs. I very much enjoy the game. Grabbing my ghoulies, I hate it. But as some of you may have been able to parse over the years, I don't live in the world of subtext at all. I live in the world of very big, bold,
text,
impact font text.
I know cowards. I know people that use subtext, and they're all cowards.
I will tell you that it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time for me to pick up what the stoat was throwing down and do the thing he was asking me to. And then the game was giving me some clues, and then Ray was saying Josh, this is a clue, do this thing, and it went over my head. So I went on a god tier run and still did not beat the game because I forgot to do the thing because I missed it. So it's a fun game, but the intrigue and the mystery is sometimes lost on people who live in impact font 64-point text like me. So for that reason, it stays at number 3.
Respect that. I respect that a lot. Well, that's an interesting number 3. Mike, what is your number? Actually, Mike is number 3. Go for it.
Yes. My number 3 is a little game called The First Half of Resident Evil Village.
Man, that did come out in 2021, didn't it?
It sure did.
Yeah.
And Hey, the first half of Resident Evil Village is a really great game.
Yep.
You get chased around a castle by the big vampire lady. You get your hand chopped off, and probably one of the most like impactful scenes of the year that still just cracks me up when I think about it. Because like Resident Evil, like that's why I like the specifically the first half of Resident Evil Village here is so great because because horror sometimes has like really great horror is almost has like comedic timing in a sense and like kind of comedic anticipation and buildup. And it's just like it's horrifying when you get your hand chopped off trying to open the elevator, but it's really funny and it pings it like hits that tone perfectly. Like the game isn't like haha, like it's not like a comedy it's not trying to make you laugh, but it knows it's kind of funny, but it's only funny if it plays it straight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like how the Hitman games are funny. Like you need Agent 47 to be the perfect like straight man for the comedy of that game to work.
Yeah, he's very stoic.
And then the the second half of the first half of Resident Evil 8 Village is a very, very good, just horror, terrifying sequence that is just was super effective and very good. The rest of the game sucks and was not fun to play.
I wouldn't say sucks. I would say let down compared to the very big highs of the first two section. And then it's like the first two sections are just like you're coming down from that roller coaster hill, and the rest of the ride is just like just kind of coasting.
Yeah, and just they build up to this whole "my man's been fungus the whole time" plot twist, and you're like, okay, this would have been more impactful if I hadn't wanted to kill myself after the last hour of playing. Like, can I be fungus too, please? So I can die.
I will agree with you. The last I don't know 4 hours of that game is 4 hours too long. It
I agree.
Need to be that long.
But boy, let me tell you, the first half of Resident Evil 8 Village is, dare I say, a top 3 game of the year.
Agreed. Josh, what is your number 2?
Let me. I need to pull up the pronunciation for this game. It's a little indie title. Something I found that was pretty unique. It's called Halo Infinite. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Halo Infinite from this little studio called Tres Cuatro Tres.
Activision Blizzard. The parent company of Activision Blizzard.
It's true.
We'll talk
about that next week.
At time of recording.
At time of recording, yes.
Soon to be. Coming to Game Pass near you. No, Halo Infinite. That I want to say, what was it, a month early the multiplayer dropped, and kind of took everybody a little by surprise. Now I haven't actually sat down and played the campaign yet, but I hear good things about it. But to sit here and be talking about in the year of our Savior Gaben 2022 about playing Halo, putting multiple hours into Halo, and Halo taking the spot of the game that our friend group plays and that a new generation has come to appreciate here, is something that if you told me 6 months ago was going to happen, I would have told you, yeah, sure, Halo Infinite's coming out, but like it's not going to be that good. I even think we had this discussion a year ago when they first delayed Halo, and they said, oh, it's not going to be a launch title. It's just like, it's not, they're not going to be able to. Oh, Ray, go ahead.
Who remembers Craig? That's all I gotta say. Everyone remembers Craig. We
love Craig.
I love that brute face, just that
It's not great.
They fixed it though.
They did. I mean, and I will say, and this is obviously Microsoft and 343 have a lot more money than most people, but I mean, you want to talk about a good example of slowing down, taking the time to take feedback and criticism and do something right instead of just saying, hey, we've got to get this game out the door. We've got marketing deals with Taco Bell and whatnot. Like, I can't remember exactly, but I know there was a lot of things that I saw out in the world that had the Mr. Halo on it when Halo was nowhere near coming out. So, there were a lot of things that were in play, and we talk about on the podcast a lot about, take the time, make it good, try and execute your vision. Don't just say, hey, we've got to hit these deadlines, we got to get it out the door. And, it's good to see that 343 and Microsoft are being rewarded for that with such a good reception and being able to capture that Halo feel but still feel relevant and modern today. I think it's very easy to have done what they kind of did with Halo 4 and 5 and try and do the same thing and get a tepid reception and not be not be successful. And I think this is also a bit of a success story for Game Pass and for the free-to-play model. Just like, hey, make the games available. Now, obviously, there's problems with the microtransactions and what they've got going on there, but just making the game available to a wider audience and an audience that might not have been exposed to Halo in the past, a primarily PC audience, a younger audience. It has been refreshing to see those business models and those decisions being rewarded in such a way and playing a fun game at the time. It's something where pretty much anytime this group is together, we're jumping into Halo these days.
It's true. I think that's a good number 2. So Mike, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is gonna come out of nowhere because I haven't really talked about it at all. Okay. But I really enjoy it. Game on the Switch called Boomerang X.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of like an action combat arena type thing. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played a game called Devil Daggers, where it's just you are in an arena, it spawns a bunch of guys, and you just fight forever. But this is basically like a narrative. There's like a little bit of narrative version of that, but you have a boomerang, and you throw the boomerang, you hit guys, you kill enough guys, you spawn a new wave, and you're jumping around, and eventually you get the ability to teleport yourself to the boomerang or shoot lasers from it if you get enough kills in the air before you hit the ground. And then so you're doing really quickly, you're flying all over the place and zipping around and doing slow-mo to do snipe shots, and just the art style is really cool too. So I've really enjoyed it. I think it's a really, really cool game. I've been playing it on the Switch. I'm not exactly certain where else it is, but
it's on Steam. I just looked it up.
Steam. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Steam would probably be a great place to play it too, because it's a really cool style, and I bet it would look great on Steam. Not that it doesn't look good or work well on the Switch, but I bet it would look great on Steam. And it's just when it clicks, it feels so good. I love it when an action game clicks, and this one feels really good. And you can just feel it. Just feels really cool to play, and just the environments are really cool, and it's just a very video game, and it's super fun, and I really like it.
I'm really glad to hear you propped up an indie game published by the good people at Devolver Digital, because they don't miss. Okay, if it's got that DD seal of approval, you're getting quality. That's how I like to view things.
It's true.
Sorry, I really respect Devolver Digital as a company. As an aside, I told this to Josh a little while ago. I one time tried to apply at Devolver Digital, and it's definitely one of those companies where, don't worry, we'll reach out to you if we need your service. We'll be in touch.
Oh.
If you can work here, you will work here. So
I respect that.
Yep.
Josh, it is time for your number one. What is your 2021 game of the year?
So coming out of left field, my 2021 game of the year, Pokemon Snap.
I don't know if you're joking.
Yes, I'm very much joking.
Oh, okay. Like, you could be serious. I just don't know.
No. The Metroid man is going to pick Metroid Dread as his 2021 game of the year.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. You want to tell us why?
Yeah, no, I don't think I really got to talk much about, part of the reason I was absent from the podcast for a while is I was moving houses and had a lot going on and whatnot in the last, right around the time Metroid Dread launched. But it's just anything that I thought that game could or would have been, it really delivered on those aspects. Now, I'm not saying the game is perfect, it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to learn that you could even attempt to parry the Emmys. Did not know that was a thing. I just thought, like, when they grabbed you, it was done and you had to go back. And that was a very frustrating mechanic. And then I learned you could do it, and still was bad at it because, not good at time.
Yeah, that's not a big window.
No, you have 2 of those 60 frames to make it happen.
Yep,
and it switches, it changes. It's not a solid time frame.
Yep.
And that was the other thing too. It was it's like they nailed the hezzy step. They got you. It's like
yeah.
So if you see previous comments about QuickTime events, I'm not very good at them. So even when I learned that was a mechanic that worked,
like, great, cool.
That's cool for some people, just not me.
The trick is to not get caught by the Emmys, I think, is what they're trying to say.
Yeah, that's the real business right there. But problems aside, like, every game has its little quirks like that and whatnot, but I appreciated them taking a design choice and sticking with, saying like, hey, we're going to enter this semi-unique mechanic, and it's not just like, oh, hey, take your Wiimote and point it at the screen to fire missiles. I felt like the controls were exactly as tight as I was hoping they would be, and, a lot of the problems that I felt with Metroid 2 remake on the DS are, definitely answered by being on the proper Switch controller with the with a proper joystick. And I played because of the logistics of the moving. I did play it in 3 separate modes. I did play on the couch with a Pro controller, with Joy-Cons, and in handheld mode. And honestly, I liked it each way. I found all 3 ways to play that game enjoyable. I will say that the original Switch, playing it handheld, definitely made me think about going out and trying to get an OLED, because I was like, this looks good, but it could look a little better. I could use a little extra screen real estate on that.
I cannot imagine playing that game with the unattached Joy-Cons. That seems like awful.
Honestly, it wasn't too bad. For me, it was out of necessity, because I had not packed the Switch yet, but I had not packed the TV, but I had packed the entertainment center, and in the entertainment center was my Switch Pro controller. So
okay,
that's all it was handheld or bust. So it was handheld or detached. So I did that, but I think it is difficult to make games like that feel good across all 3 or 4 different ways that you can operate the Switch. And I really appreciated the story. I think there was a lot of talk and speculation and wondering, like, what do you do after Metroid Fusion? What is this story? What story are they going to tell? And I think it was a pretty solid exploration of the post Metroid, Samus after all of the things that she has done already and what could be left for her to experience in that universe, besides like, hey, I'm gonna become the Federation force myself. But I love the story. There were some banger moments, and I know we'll get a little more into it into the actual Metroid Dread cast or whatever. But I was very pleased. I was very thrilled with the game, and yeah, that's all I can really say about it right now. Game of the year.
Mike, I want to hear the Mike 2021 Game of the Year.
Well, if Mike's 2021 Game of the Year presented to you by Destiny 2, The Witch Queen comes out February 22nd, pre-order now.
Don't do this.
You
have a choice. Don't do this. Be better.
Okay, real quick, I know we all shit on NFTs all the time, but the second Bungie says, yo, we got this hot Destiny NFT, Mike is gonna get in line and be like, how much? Please.
I mean, it's the old little kid. It's gotta be good looking. I'd consider it.
Oh my god!
Mike is like, is that a Hawkmoon NFT?
No, I'm not a Hawkmoon. I'm not a Hawkmoon guy. If it was a Dead Man's Tale, though, or a sleeper. If it was a sleeper simulant NFT, I'd have to buy
simulant
it.
NFT.
I'm a sleeper man. Oh, it's hard to hit your headshot. I just hit your headshots then. Just crit. Just land your headshots. That's all you have to do. Come on.
I'm so sorry I put that out into the world.
My Game of the Year, should be no surprise if you have listened to the spoiler cast that we did on this between Ray and I. It is Inscription, and I think there's a couple reasons why. I think that a lot of times, I at some point I might tell Josh to remove his headphones to protect tender ears from potentially spoilery things. But I think that there are sometimes a lot of indie games that have interesting stories that maybe don't have really great gameplay. But I think that the really cool thing about Inscription is that it has great like table setting and scenery and art and music. The core mechanic of the cards and how it changes over the course of the game. Just broadly, how it changes. Sometimes some changes are much bigger than others, in ways that are unexpected and very cool. While also at the same time, kind of telling this, you get a little bit of like a Blair Witch style story that's happening in the found footage part of it, but you're also getting at the same time a kind of a big picture story about how, specifically about games, but I think applies to a lot of things, how like creating something is just like it can take on a life of its own, and that you try to that in kind of creating something is you wrangling with all these things that you just want to smash into this one thing, and some of these things just don't work together, but they have to, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And what happens when you try to put all these things into the same place at great personal cost to you, because it was either a labor of love that went too far, or because your boss was not a super great person to work with. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
And so it's just a really interesting story broadly about like what the creative process is like and how draining it is, like emotionally, physically, and and it's a labor of love is still labor at the end of the day, what I mean? Like so to have all of these elements just all combined, just I don't think it hits the mark on everything, but it just all of these elements come together just create this really cool experience that was already going to be my game of the year when I first played through it. But then they added an endless mode that has new unlocks and is going to be getting updates going forward in the future. And that's in beta right now, and it's really cool. So I've really, really enjoyed it, and I think Inscription was basically as soon as I finished playing it, I'm like, this has to be my game of the year. There was no
Is it an
contest
auto
really,
lock?
so definitely.
Most excellent. Well, gentlemen, those are some solid choices. Excellent choices for the Ray Rapid Fire. What games I think should get the most attention in 2021?
The curated
Oh,
selection.
the curated list.
Uh-huh.
For top
That's
of the list
fucking
is
brilliant.
indie games you should definitely play from 2021. As Mike noted, Inscription. For all the reasons Mike said and more. Hell, the endless mode in and of itself is well worth your $20 easily. Deltarune Chapter 2, but only if you've played both Undertale and Deltarune Chapter 1. Chapter 2 is just more Deltarune, but even funnier. What more can I say? For the next set of the list is the games you should play if you have a PS5, and I am so sorry if you don't, but you should buy a PS5.
I saw that Kroger had one today. If you click, I'm dead serious.
I
Check
saw
them.
that, yeah. And I told you before, like I remember the olden days where you could go to Aldi and get the Sega Genesis.
Man, think of the fuel points you'd get on that bad boy.
Oh man,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
slamming down $800.
Oh yeah.
You were $200 away from a full buck off a gallon at that point.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, back
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Ratchet and Clank and Rift in Time. Nothing can adequately describe how much of a triumph this game is just looking at it. And playing it is great because it has many different accessibility options. From jump, it lets you say, like, do you actually want to have a challenge with this game? Because we could just make it so you never die and you're just having fun shooting stuff. And I tried that mode for just a tiny bit just to see what it's like. And yeah, it was still fun.
Let's go. That's
You could drop down the difficulty. You could pump it all the way up to where like enemies kill you in 2 hits. It is up to you, and you can remap all the buttons. You can make the text gigantic size if you're having some seeing issues. You can make it so that you don't use the shoulder buttons at all. You just use the face buttons on the controller. Not only is it a beautiful looking game, not only is it a great game to play, but they respect the fact that you should play this game any way you want. And it's funny. It's a hilarious game. Next on that list is Final Fantasy VII Integrate Intermission. I know that's a title. That's Tetsuo Nomura for you. This is where you play as Yuffie and her friend, whose name I won't spoil, but you should play that, and it's good. It's more Final Fantasy VII. It's running on PS5. It's a different side story. It takes about 10 to 11 hours to beat, maybe 6 hours if you're actually doing it right. I don't know. It's 4K, 60 frames per second, and it has one of the best mini games in the Final Fantasy series. It's addictive. I liked it. It's the Josh.
Oh yeah, the
Battle Condor
little
mission.
dudes. Yeah.
Yes, Josh.
Yeah.
They brought back Fort Condor, and they made it really, really, really good. Like stupid good. I don't know how else to describe it. I easily 5 of my 11 hours playing that game was just playing the Battle Condor.
Oh, this does not surprise me in the slightest. That's hilarious.
It's so good. And finally, my game that everyone should play, period, because there's no excuse. Everyone should play Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread shouldn't exist. The fact that it does is a blessing. And I was happy to play it. I was happy to beat it. I was happy to go through it. I was happy to see the ending to the Metroid story, as it were. And I respect what Mike said, because there are some parts where I got lost because I'm like, where the fuck am I supposed to go and do? And the first time you go through it, you're like, I don't know, shoot some walls and ceilings and hope for the best. And I know there's that whole big thing where David Jaffe was getting dunked on Twitter for like a month straight. But I want to say, like, devil's advocate, the man's not entirely wrong. Like, sometimes Metroid just has that thing.
That part where you're supposed to like go to the elevator room and shoot the walls, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, it's so dumb.
I mean, Metroid.
I wasted like
Fusion-
half an hour looking for that.
I
Metroid
mean, I'm not
Fusion
gonna
is
lie.
a
Pretty
game.
much, as a very big Metroid fan, like literally every single every single room I walk into, bap 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 bap. I'm shooting every single wall just to make sure.
Yeah, us seasoned Metroid fanboys, we're like, yeah, I know what to do. Shooting everywhere because you never know, and you're hunting for items more than you're hunting for a place to go. But we're as I just said with Ratchet and Clank: A Rift in Time, we reached a point in gaming where like, no, that shit is
I'm
starting not to
baby.
fly
Signpost
anymore.
me. Signpost me.
And
Yeah,
there's no
baby.
way to make Metroid Dread easier. Hell, there's no button mapping on Metroid Dread because button remapping is a spoiler. As you find out later on, the game uses every single button on the controller. So everyone should play it, but yeah, it's kind of a really hard game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The game kicks your ass.
I will say Metroid Dread is like as a Metroid fanboy, it's probably the only game that I'll give like a a Dark Souls-esque pass to being like hard. It's like, okay, this one gets it, but everybody else should have like a fucking easy endless dad mode because I need it.
Like I just want the option, but the game doesn't give you the option. The game gives you the option once you beat it to make it even harder. And I think it's like, nah, it's okay. I already got kicked in the dick once. Maybe don't stomp on them while you're here. Anyways, that's it. That is the list.
We
Gentlemen,
did it.
your over. Sorry, go ahead.
I said we did it.
Gentlemen, your overall thoughts on gaming in 2021? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it could be better? Did you?
Well, this podcast is 30 minutes shorter than last year's Game of the Year. So while there were some,
You tell me.
there were some bangers this year, but also, I think we're starting to feel the effects of the delays
Having children
and having children and COVID impacting development and whatnot. So, 2020 we had the benefit of lockdown is novel, and a lot of the things that are coming out were basically done before that started to happen, and now we're starting to see the projects that are dealing with work from home and whatnot, and the things that suffer from that, and the exhaustion that comes from 2 years in a global pandemic. So
yeah,
let's hope 2022 is better.
2022 is. I'm scared because I don't have the time. Elden Ring comes out next month. I'm not ready.
It's exceedingly rude to me specifically that they're like, hey, Witch Queen and Elden Ring are happening like the same week.
Elden
or
Ring
or like 1 week after the other. It's like, come
Horizon
on.
Horizon
Forbidden
Dawn,
West.
Forbidden West. Yeah, and there's one more game that's coming out that time frame also. I forget what it is, but
Wordle 2.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Wordle 2. There's a sequel to Wordle.
No, shut the
I don't believe
fuck
you.
up.
Why would you believe? That's classic. Never mind.
But the point is that, as Josh was saying, the delays are starting to like taper off, and now just 2022 is jam packed with a bunch of titles that I don't know how people are expected to play some of them.
Yeah, I will say, at least from a wallet standpoint, thank God for Game Pass. That will save me a little bit. But yeah, who's gonna have the time for all this stuff? But
I mean, there's some games that came out that we put time in our calendar aside to play. Then reviews came out. You're like, never mind, my weekend just got freed up. I'm looking at you, Battlefield.
Yeah, the Battlefield.
I forgot I played Battlefield this year. Oh my God.
Man, I was looking forward to that game. Can we just say that in June 2021, I mean, if you told me that beautiful trailer is going to come out and make one of the biggest gaming flops in the last 10 years, I wouldn't have believed you. I was like, nah, that looks like it's going to be great. And
No, this is the one where they finally said that they got it.
You're like, even if they do 50% of that, this game's still going to be great. And then they didn't do that.
No, it's wild, right? Damn. More people are playing Battlefield 1 than are playing Battlefield 2042.
Oh, brother.
But do you know where you can go to always be satisfied, Ray?
What a loaded question, but why don't you tell me?
Unscriptedgaming.com.
You're damn right.
You can go there to find links to everything we do on the internet to make sure that as 2022 gets into full swing, you keep up with our thoughts and our opinions on every single thing that comes out. And by every single thing, I mean like the 3 things that we have time for. So, but you
Give
can
us a break. Come on.
We'll do our best. We got movies too, and there's a lot going on. So make sure you are following us at Unscripted Game Podcast on Facebook, at unscript_gaming on Twitter, soundcloud.com/unscripted-gaming for the audio versions of all of our podcasts. You can also get us on basically every podcatcher, Google, Stitcher, Apple, everywhere. Get us in your ears, get us in your eyes. Thank you for listening to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Josh.
My name is Ray.
My name is Mike, and I thought that Destiny 2 had a pretty decent year. I think some of the seasonal storytelling was pretty great this year.
Peace.
There's some cool missions and cool things to say about that. It was cool some guns. I like that Dead Man's Tale. It's a great scout rifle. It's going to be top tier next season. There's new champion mods. Multi-glass coming back. That was pretty cool.